for shizzle.
Welcome to another edition of Happy Hour. Good afternoon, Thirsty Thursday. I'm Barry Nelson, and this is Charlie O'Donnell. Charlie, thank you very much for joining us. I know a lot of you are used to seeing me on College Road Trip, and now the brand new show Inside the Park, but I figured I'd come in and I'd help out a little bit. Happy to be here, Charlie. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and also glad to finally meet you in person.
Glad to finally meet you in person too. It's been a constant email and text struggle, but we're here, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different things today. Going to be joined by Alfredo Muente, talking MLB. Also going to be talking a little golf and some NFL mock draft. We got the NFL draft coming up in 2 weeks, and it's really ramping up right now.
Oh no, especially over the last 2 days, every single mock draft you've seen has essentially gotten shaken up because of supposedly the Browns may be making a different move than what I've been saying they should be doing for the last, I don't even know how long. Or no, not just me, every single draft analyst ever.
Not to mention San Francisco might trade out and everything like that. But we'll get to that in just a few minutes. But first of all, we want to start off with some of the latest national headlines. In case you haven't heard, the news came down within the last hour that Dan Rooney, the principal owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, has passed away. He was 84 years old. He was the son of Art Rooney, who was the team founder of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and from all intents and purposes, from what everybody says, just a fantastic man and one of the architects, one of those foundation blocks of the NFL.
Well, yeah, he's got 6 Super Bowls to his name as well.
Right.
That's the most any team has. So, there's really not much more you can say about him, other than the fact that, any person in the NFL will tell you that he's one of the classiest people you ever meet in your life. Mm-hmm. Which, it's kind of unfortunate. Nothing against Jerry Jones, but, when you hear names like Jerry Jones, who's always, in the spotlight because of his persona and, everything he does, guys like Rooney were pushed to the side. But Rooney's just a class act, and he'll be missed very, very greatly. He,
along with the Maras of the New York Giants, and we even talked about off the air, talking about the McCaskies, maybe with the Bears.
Yeah.
Some of the elder statesmen when it comes to football, and definitely somebody that will be missed, especially by his family, his Steeler family. I know Ben Roethlisberger tweeted out a picture saying that he will be forever in debt to Dan Rooney for taking a chance on him coming out of Ohio University. But
no, the NFL has definitely lost a very important piece to their establishment today.
Yeah, and a couple of weeks before the draft, I know he was really looking forward to the draft. That was always his thing. And so we do send our condolences out to the Pittsburgh Steelers and their family. Next thing up, Becca Longo. She is who's Becca Longo? Becca Longo is actually a high school senior, and she is the first female to sign a Division II scholarship to play football.
Play football,
yeah.
Football.
She's going to be playing football at Adams State.
Football, like the NFL football, not like football.
No, not like soccer football. Like we're talking American football, oblong ball going through a big H,
Big skin and all
that.
Yeah,
exactly. That kind of stuff. And it's she is actually the first female to sign a Division II or higher letter of intent to play football. And she said she didn't even really know that it was that historical until her coach came up and told her on the day she signed the letter, which was yesterday.
Well, nothing against the historical significance. That should be what the main focus is. It should be the fact that she's accomplished this, this awesome feat of gaining a scholarship to play football. Getting a scholarship alone is hard enough, but being the first female to do it for football is amazing. I played with my high school team. We had a girl kicker, and she was amazing. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Anyone can play the game.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, and she, some of her stats, she was 35 of 38 on extra point attempts. She only attempted one field goal, but she had a kind of like a pro day in front of the college coaches, and she impressed enough to actually be on the recruiting list. And she was one of the recruits for Adams State. I don't know where in Colorado Adams State is. The only Adams university that I know of is Adams College from Revenge of the Nerds, but and if you don't know that reference, you're too young. Google it. But she's got to be a heck of an athlete too, because she's going to be playing basketball there as well.
No, yeah, it's any sport though nowadays. You need to be conditioned to play any sport, or more or less not any sport, be able to go year round.
Yeah, and she's just elated that she's getting the opportunity. And I know those coaches at Adams State are not just doing this as a publicity stunt. They said she's legit, so she wants to make her mark, and they want her to make her mark as well. So Becca Longo, we wish you the best of luck at Adams State. keep going down the headlines. Aaron Rodgers in the news again, not because he broke up with Olivia Munn, and we got word yesterday that he broke up with Olivia Munn, at least what I saw. And Aaron Rodgers has said that he wouldn't mind doing that when he's about to retire, when he's with the Milwaukee Bucks. You know, and you take a look at Aaron Rodgers.
Christmas every year.
Well, I think there's going to be a Rodgers Christmas in Chico, California this year.
Nah, that's true. I mean, will he finally meet the wife of Bachelor winner Jordan Rodgers?
He might. You know, well, they were saying that. You know, and like I said, this is all speculation, but it's coming from a source that's close to the situation, as always. But they say that Olivia was the one that actually instigated the rift between Aaron and his brothers.
I mean, that's been rumored for years.
And now it's kind of coming out and being confirmed. And there was they said they took a little bit of a break last year because they weren't getting along, and nobody knew about it, and all that stuff. So a lot of high drama. Yeah. But Aaron Rodgers obviously wanting to.
But, I mean, really quick, at the end of the day, though, I mean, like, none of that stuff is our business. You know, it's their personal life, but unfortunately, in every single thing you're doing.
Exactly.
So, I can see Rodgers putting on the number 12 for the Milwaukee Bucks and shooting a couple threes, but Adam Silver wouldn't allow Tony Romo to actually get on the court for a game. You think he allows Aaron Rodgers to do it?
Not if Aaron Rodgers is in his mid-40s, especially if he's wearing the number 12. He would have to pry that off of Jabari Parker.
That too. Well, if Jabari Parker's around,
hopefully get well, Jabari.
And if you could stay healthy.
Yeah, exactly. If you would like to comment on Facebook Live, please, by all means, leave your comments. We will we'll make our comments to your comments, and maybe you can be interactive with our show. We're going to have a little bit of a poll that we want you to get involved in towards the end of the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that one and give us your feedback on that. But a couple more things that we want to get to. If you haven't heard the Marshawn Lynch story, we all know that Marshawn Lynch is trying to get back into the NFL. He's working with the Raiders to try and get something done there. Seattle still holds his rights.
Right.
Okay. And if he gets traded from Seattle to Oakland, he does not have to file a letter of reinstatement with the commissioner. Mm-hmm. If it would just be where Seattle would let him go, put him on the retired list, he'd have to submit a letter.
Right.
Well, it looks like Seattle is trying to work something out with the Raiders. Mm-hmm. Well, in the meantime, Marshawn decided, hey, I'm going to travel to Oakland, and I'm going to see what Oakland's all about. Unfortunately, he got off a United. I don't know if he flew United, but he did.
He actually got off the plane.
He actually got off the plane. He didn't get dragged.
Did he even board the plane?
I think he was the guy that dragged the other guy off the plane. But that's a story for another time. But he got off the plane. He was waiting for his ride, and he got approached by a few fans. Check this out. Thanks to TMZ Sports. Okay, so Marshawn Lynch at the airport being hounded for some autographs. Just said you could hear him in the background saying, "Hey, I'm not doing anything, man. Just leave me alone." And the guy keeps recording, and he kind of flings his arm back and knocks the phone out of the guy's hand. Now, a lot of people are in uproar about this because, oh my God, Marshawn Lynch, he abused an autograph seeker. But is this Marshawn Lynch being a true jerk, or is this just Marshawn Lynch just trying to be by himself and just going about it maybe the wrong way?
Well, I wouldn't say it's him being a jerk, but I mean, it's no secret that in the past, Marshawn Lynch and the press haven't exactly always had the greatest relationship. I mean, we all remember, his "I'm thankful," and of course, "I'm here just so I don't get fined."
Yes.
I mean, we all remember that.
Yes.
I mean, it's
yes.
It's. I mean, you can say. I mean, you can say what you want about Marshawn Lynch, but I mean, he's never had a problem or anything like that. But at the end of the day, though, I mean, like going back to Aaron Rodgers, when you're a player of that profile and you're out in public, people are going to record you. People are going to take pictures of you.
And it's not something that I don't think you can ever get used to.
Yeah.
But it's something that you have to tolerate and you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And the way you deal with it is going to be reflective on how people are going to perceive you. And right now, people perceive him as kind of a jerk, kind of a, he doesn't like people and stuff like that. But from what I've seen from some of his charity work and some of the things that he's done in the offseason, he's a fun-loving guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's also one of those things like where, okay, like in that video, like, okay, majority of these NFL players now, they're sponsored by these headphone companies that they're more of a fashion statement than actually listening to music. I like headphones too, as long as they sound good. I don't care how they look. But at the end of the day, though, I mean, he had giant headphones on his head. Just put your headphones over your head and just, if they want to take pictures, fine. Because it's a thing. If you're in public now, like I said, they're going to see you. If he's, if he was in Oakland, just actually go meet with the team, or just maybe he's going to hang with Steph Curry. We don't know. But at the end of the day, though, it's like you got to let it be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is now. I mean, it's like, well, it's going back to like tweet and delete or anything. If you make a scene, it's going to be even worse news.
And you hate to see people perceive celebrities and athletes that way, and I'm sure athletes really wish that they'd be liked by a lot of people, but I really honestly don't think Marshawn Lynch cares too much.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's his prerogative, and to each his own. And I give Marshawn Lynch credit for just at first saying, "Hey, I'm not signing anything. I'm not doing anything." But for him to kind of knock that guy's phone out was a little excessive, and we'll just we'll see how that all plays out. But Marshawn Lynch not in the good graces of some fans right now. And who's not in the good graces of a former coach is the team that he wants to join, and that's Oakland. Oakland, we know earlier this year, said that they were moving to Las Vegas.
Yep.
And one of their former coaches has a problem with it. And no, it's not John Gruden. It is not Mike Shanahan. It's actually the legendary coach John Madden. John Madden was speaking on...
You mean a guy that has a video game where he likes you to go over here and then go over here and boom! Tough to napkin. And also Brett Favre. Brett Favre's the greatest quarterback ever.
That's not bad, actually. You give Frank Caliendo a little bit of a run for his money.
Anytime, Frank. Anytime.
The 81-year-old coach was talking on a radio show with James Lofton and Joe Horgan and Howard Balzer and said that I would hate to have a team come in and be an opposing team to Oakland. Because imagine a team coming in on a Saturday night to Las Vegas. Where are you going to stay? Oh, we're staying at Caesars. We'll stay at the Bellagio. I mean, he said, and he even mentioned something, and this is the one thing that I got a kick out of. He said that
buy my game this summer.
No, he doesn't need that for that kind of promotion. But he was talking about. He said, I would hate to be a coach to take a team in there. I would hate to have my team in Las Vegas on Saturday night before the game, the night before a game. Every team has a bottom 10. And what he was saying was the bottom 10 players on the roster in terms of behavior. He said, I think there's going to be a lot of problems like that because, what did your mom always say? One bad apple ruins the whole bunch. Yeah. And if you got 10 of those guys and they're just like, we're not going to play tomorrow anyway. It's kind of like Max McGee before the first Super Bowl. I'm not going to play anyway. I'm going to stay out drinking all night and gambling and stuff like that. Seriously, when you have a city that doesn't sleep like Las Vegas, and trust me, I've been there plenty of times, what are you going to do as a coach? How are you going to maintain integrity on your team and keep an eye on all your players?
Well, I mean, there's every team has those curfew rules essentially and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, though, I mean, as I said before, though, I'm worried about the Raiders because are they even going to have a fan base? I mean, like you said, every single weekend, Las Vegas is more of a tourist attraction than an actual city.
Right. Yeah, and it is. And, according to Clark Griswold, it's the number one family destination in the world. So.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, at the same time, though, I mean, you can go back to, as I said in the past, how many weeks of that stadium is going to actually be all Raiders fans?
Right.
Majority, I think, seriously, if a team if the Cowboys go there and, or no, not even that, if the Rams are playing in Vegas, oh, hey, man, we can go see the Rams play this weekend. We also go to Vegas at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm down. That's the only thing. And, I get John Madden's point, and also I get the whole point of, hey, man, we're not playing tomorrow. Let's go out. But, I mean, the NFL, they're definitely going to change their whole curfew guideline rules because at the same time, though, while you can do that, there's a certain line you can't cross.
Right.
So,
and it's a good thing that Las Vegas is the home to the most security cameras ever in the entire world because they can catch anybody anywhere. Josh Egan saying to commenting on Facebook saying Madden is still alive. Yeah, Madden is still alive. He's enjoying retirement and enjoying that Madden cruiser. But a long time ago, the voice of God, John Facenda, he wrote
Morgan Freeman?
No, not Morgan Freeman. He wrote a poem, or he read a poem written by Steve Sabol on NFL Films, and it went. As I get my voice ready, it went a little something like this. It says, "The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from the sea. With a rollicking song, he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously." Well, I have a feeling John Facenda may say something like this after the Oakland Raiders move to Las Vegas. "The autumn wind is a gambler, sweeping in from the strip. Doubling down with a smile or frown, he hits blackjack to save his trip." Might work. Well, thank you very much.
That was
no
impressive.
applause. Thank you.
I mean, just that voice, too. That was impressive.
Well, thank you.
Boom! That's a guy who knows his doom.
But John Madden, and he's got it right. He is a Super
does.
Bowl winning coach. He's the legendary coach, not just because he has a video game out. He's the legendary coach of that franchise, and he's the most beloved coach of that franchise.
Yes.
And he has a right to speak his opinion. And I think he's got a little bit of a point. What are people going to do? And God love John Madden. There's not really much that he can do. He voiced his opinion. He wishes they would have stayed in Oakland. And I think a lot of traditionalists and a lot of NFL purists wish they would have stayed in Oakland too, because, you have 3 franchises moving in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where you want the NFL to just stay put for a while.
But now you hear all this news. Oh, yeah, no, they've been wanting to do this forever. Even when Al Davis was alive, they wanted to do this. And it's just like...
I think it was more Mark Davis than Al Davis, but
that I agree with.
Yeah.
That I agree with. But at the end of the day, Mark Davis, Al Davis, there was some, pushing. They're like, hey.
It was a Davis that was influencing.
Yes.
In any case, that's what we have for our latest headlines. We are now going to make the transition over to Major League Baseball, and what a week it was. We're about a week and a half into the season, and I know the guy that's joining us right now, Alfredo Muente. He is very, very excited about the Major League Baseball season getting underway. Alfredo, thank you very much for joining us. How you doing? And we're doing absolutely wonderful. Now, one thing I wanted to point out was yesterday there was a crazy action in the Yankees-Rays game, and I want our viewers to take a look at this in case they hadn't seen it. We're going to put it up on the video just for you right now, as we see Brett Gardner and Ricky Weeks colliding at first, just a massive collision, and luckily, Alfredo, nobody really seriously hurt on that one. Right. And surprisingly, no concussions coming out of that either, from what we saw. Awesome. Well, in the first week and a half, Alfredo, who has been your surprise team? Who's been your surprise player coming into this weekend? Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned some of the good surprise teams, or the Reds, the Diamondbacks, the Angels are definitely a surprise. Can these teams keep it up? I mean, the Reds are not known for having a last year they didn't exactly have a good year, and you mentioned all the guys that were out because of injury. The Diamondbacks playing really well, and we said, like I said, Los Angeles playing really well too. Can those guys keep it up, or is this just kind of an anomaly that's happening over the course of the first couple weeks?
Now, Alfredo, I mean, as you're talking about surprises, and it's also, like you said, it's only the start of the season, but I hate to be that broadcaster or even ask you this question, but it's got to be addressed. Probably one of the most surprising things in baseball so far is Tim Tebow. I'm sorry, I have to ask.
Had to go there.
I had to go there, but if he keeps performing at a somewhat decent level like he is there any chance at all that we can see him in the majors this season? Not soon, maybe like towards the postseason, maybe. I mean, maybe, like, let's say there's like an injury, perhaps, Or would you think it'd be more of a publicity stunt?
One of the surprise teams that is on the bad side, really surprising me because we're in the NL Central, is because of the St. Louis Cardinals. They're in last place. Are they going to get off the mat? Not to mention people like the Toronto Blue Jays and the Kansas City Royals. Are they going to be able to get up off the mat? One thing that I was looking at, and it's way too early to make the prediction, but early season MVP after the first week and a half, in my book, has got to be George Springer from the Houston Astros. It's early on, but he has put up some numbers that rival some of the better starts that we've seen in recent history. Do you see that? Do you see him as your kind of early season MVP or early first 2-week MVP? Right. Mm-hmm. One second, just one second. And then you. Well, you can ask my wife. I'm all about the sexy stuff, so, you know. That's
Hey now.
it is a sexy show. We're trying.
Oh man.
Sorry, I had to get it. No, that's...
I don't even know. I don't even know what to ask you now.
You forgot your train of thought. Go ahead.
Well, Alfredo. Actually, no. Speaking of sexy stuff, hey now, how you doing? how you doing? So last night, something was unveiled, which I'm very happy to see after waiting a long time. The Cubs World Series reign was finally unveiled. It was teased on Tuesday night. God, just look at that. Oh, sorry. I get emotional seeing that. I waited so long. So, they actually, what I like about the reign is they actually put a lot of the Cubs history into it. They even put the GOAT on there. They even put, of course, everyone knows the famous sign. But there's been a few, how I put it, backlash. I mean, I wouldn't say from Cubs fans, but from just fans in general saying that's a giant eyesore. What are your thoughts on the reign, that apparently has a total of, let me get my numbers correct here. 214 total diamonds.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
but then, everyone knows about the whole 108, certain white diamonds for the 108 years, and, people can make noises all they want. It's actually nice to have a championship. What are your thoughts on the reign? Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
Did you just say thank you?
Well,
did you get one?
Well, actually, that's actually what I want to ask.
Oh, okay.
So, Alfredo, let me just how about this? Let me ask you to go in my shoes for a second. Okay, I've been a Cubs fan my entire life. Obviously, my dad's been a Cubs fan all of his life. He's seen every Chicago team win the championship except for the Cubs finally, as a lot of people waited for it. But did you know you can buy a limited edition replica of it? So let me ask you a quick question. If you waited, or let's say, whatever your favorite team is, and they went through the same thing the Cubs went, and you had the money, would you spend over $10,000 on a replica? Because that's what it cost. $10,000. No. Mm-hmm. Right.
I actually had friends that were on the Green Bay Packers 2010 Super Bowl squad, and I held that ring, and that ring was heavy.
Right.
And that didn't have nearly the amount of diamonds that this one does. I can only imagine what this thing weighs.
Oh, yeah, their fingers got to be swollen up by now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't imagine. But you had already mentioned, Alfredo, that you think it's going to be the Cubs and the Red Sox. We already know about the Cubs. Everybody talks about the Cubs and the reasons why they got a nice young nucleus. But why the Red Sox? Is it going to be based just solely on their pitching, or do you like their offense as well?
Mm-hmm.
We wish. Who do you think is a dark horse to compete with the Cubs and with the Red Sox in your mind, and get to that playoff, get to those playoffs, get to the NLCS, ALCS, and maybe even overtake those teams? And because no, not at all. Not at all. Alfredo, awesome stuff as always. We look forward to seeing you on Inside the Park this coming Monday with myself and Ryan Thies. Where can people follow you on social media and get all your stuff? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Happy Easter to you. And like I said, we look forward to seeing you on Monday with us inside the park. All right, take care, Alfredo. Alfredo. I can't even pronounce anything today.
Ever since that poem, man.
Yeah, Alfredo Muente, thank you very much for joining us. Our MLB talk here on Happy Hour, and it's getting a little bit too happy now. But one thing that I wanted to address before we went off the air, and I'm told that we are going to be off the air a little early tonight because of Double Dribble coming up on their special night, so we want to make room for them.
Of course.
But yesterday, an article came out. Padraig Harrington, a former Open champion,
yes,
British Open champion, came out and said that Sergio Garcia is a very sore loser. Sergio Garcia, as you know, won the Masters this year. Everybody was happy for him. 38 years old, first Masters.
That's what I picked.
And why not? You know, Sergio is such a great guy. But Padraig Harrington said, no, he's a sore loser. He said, I gave him every opportunity, every out possible I could in the 2007 Open. They were in a playoff, and Harrington just let the door open, but Sergio Garcia just couldn't go through the door. Right. He said, I was as polite as I could and as generous as I could be, but he was a very sore loser, and he continued to be a very sore loser. So clearly after that, we have had a very sticky wicket. After that, I love that. The Ryder Cup improved it after that, but we say hello to each other every day, and it's through gritted teeth. There's no doubt about that. I know he's watching what I'm doing, and I'm watching what he's doing. It's one of those things. He's a rival. Is this one of those things where you have a guy who's maybe a little bit jealous, or is he trying to say, hey, hold on a second, he's not as great as everybody thinks he is? Or where is this coming from? Why does he come out and say this now?
I mean, you can actually, like, going back earlier, it can be like a little bit of both. If you can say, I mean, obviously, anytime someone that you've had, had history with, gets that certain momentum after they've been out of the spotlight and they get it back again, you're going to be a little jealous. That's just life. But I mean, at the end of the day, though, Sergio, he's a great. He won the Masters. He's a great golfer. He won. Right. You can't take that away. You can never take that away from him. But at the end of the day, though, if you watch his entire performance, there were some days where he wasn't the greatest.
Right.
3 straight. He missed up. You could have had a birdie, just right over the hole. It's a tough situation. But anytime like a player of like not Sergio's caliber, because right when you think of golf, you think of Tiger. Arnold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even now, everyone thinks of Rory because, he got that huge deal, oh my God, like him and Tiger, that Nike commercial, everyone thought that was like the next big thing. And now, he's been like kind of out of the spotlight for a while. Anytime a player gets that spotlight, this news will always come out, especially in golf, which is unfortunate.
And I got to ask the question, who do you think is more of a sore loser? Do you think it's Tiger or do you think it's Sergio? I mean, you look at Tiger, and I was just, in researching this, this, I was watching some videos on Tiger and his golf club throwing and his cussing and, oh my God, some of the stuff that those TV cameras picked up was you can't even mention it, barely on HBO, let alone our show. And he looks like if things don't go right, it just don't go right for him. Right. And if he doesn't win, he's going to be one of those guys that's just like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Well, you can say that, but you have to keep in mind, though, okay, when you're talking about Sergio and Tiger, I hate nothing against Sergio. They're completely two different alphas. Okay, Tiger for almost 20 years was the guy of golf. Okay,
yeah.
You can go around and ask any person anything about golf. Okay, what do you know about golf? And they'll just say Tiger right away. And then they couldn't tell you anything about kind
of like Jack Nicklaus, the generation before.
Yeah. That's all. That's like he had that such of an expectation, not just from the crowd, but for himself to always perform well. Sure, you can blame the injuries and all that, but as I've said in the past, when Father Time comes, you can't avoid it. And, that's why, everyone thought Tiger could be the guy to finally get that record. But I don't think he'll ever win another, championship. I just don't. It's just unfortunate, but
a lot of people are saying, well, there's no such thing as a sore loser. It's being ultra competitive. And
that's a good point.
When I was a coach, we'd lost. I remember one time, we lost to a team. We actually lost to my old school.
Oh.
And I was upset to the point where I don't want to say what I did, but I kind of vandalized the visitors' locker room a little bit. And some people would say that's being a sore loser. Some people would say that's being a sore loser. Other people would say that's being ultra competitive. What is it? Is it ultra competitiveness, or is it just being a sore loser and not knowing when to say when, and not being a compassionate, gracious loser?
Well, no, in your case, I would say no. It's not being a sore loser. It's like you have this expectation for yourself. And your body is on such adrenaline high that when you get to that point and you've failed, all that preparation, everything you've worked for. Okay, here's a good example. I busted my knee my freshman year of high school. I was out for 2 years. I didn't play till my varsity senior year. Luckily, I started every single game and played every game. But my first game back, we were playing the other high school in our area, where the majority of my other friends went because the whole border lines and all that. Watch Friday Night Lights. That'll be explained to you. But, we lost by 7. And once that final, once the clock hit 0, not going to lie, wasn't really happy with myself after. But, yeah, I dropped a few, whats. And it's just one of those things where you have this such expectation that everything's going to go right, not because you think you're just that good. It's just because of how hard you prepare. In your case, you had a history, and you want. I'm not. We don't know if it was a bad, breakup or if it was mutual or whatever. But at the end of the day, though, you have an expectation that you're going to go there and perform to your highest ability, and you thought that you didn't. And it's human reactions. You can't control them. It's they're on. You don't expect them to happen. It's like after they happen, you're like, why did I do that? So
well, and that got me to thinking. Mm-hmm. And I want you guys to comment on Facebook who you think this may be. But in my opinion, the biggest sore loser in the history of sports would have to be John McEnroe. You look at some of the video.
Johnny McEnroe.
Right there. Things don't go his way. He loses. Even if he loses a point, he's up in the face of a judge.
Right.
He's yelling at somebody. He's tossing something. He's picking up his bag and going home.
Mm-hmm. And it's not even halfway through the game.
Exactly. And so you take a look at it, and that's who I thought when I think of sore losers. And now from all that I hear, Johnny Mac is one of the greatest guys in the world.
Right.
One of the nicest guys, but ultra competitive, but a very sore loser. He expected to win. He wanted to win. Now I want to know who in your mind would be the ultimate sore loser. And out there in Facebook land, we want to know who you think would be the ultimate sore loser. It can be in today's sports, or it can be in any era. But I think in any era, I think sore loser, I automatically think Johnny Mac.
See, you bring up. You get it's one thing if a guy loses. We've all heard the famous NFL press conferences after a coach loses. They go to the podium and they have we all remember playoffs.
Jim Mora.
And of course, the famous Arizona Cardinals, we let them off the hook.
Dennis Green.
Oh, yeah, Dennis Green. We all remember.
That's who we thought they were.
I remember that one pretty clear. But it's just, like I said, even if it's a coach, athlete, no matter what, even a job, when you have such a high expectation to perform and you feel that you did but it's still not good enough, you're going to react that way. But, honestly, though, when you bring up athletes, I have to say McEnroe. I really do, because just you can watch any highlight. You can put two and two together, and I guarantee you, Johnny's is at least 2 minutes longer.
Probably
because he had
a 7-minute video
because he had that many.
Right.
You put him and Tiger together. I'm sure Tiger, it's just like little subtle words under his lips, but you can make the words. Mm-hmm. But Johnny, everyone would see it.
Tiger wasn't subtle. Early on in his career, he was not subtle at all.
And I'm saying there are times where you can see it, like Johnny, though, you never see him just take a deep breath and go when it would just be like that. He would just snap.
Yeah.
But it's because he had such a high competitive edge.
And I think his most famous one when he was in Stockholm and he said, "Answer the question, jerk." That was my favorite. It's still one of my favorite all-time rants from Johnny Mac. But
here's actually a quick question I have for you.
Sure.
In terms of today's sports. Uh-huh. Actually, he's gotten a little better. Would you say LeBron James is in that category?
Yeah, I would say LeBron James is definitely in that category. He is, I think, with what you're saying, he's got such a high expectation of himself, but he is kind of, I don't want to say he's a baby. He's not a baby. Here's
the thing, because, people can say, I love Michael Jordan. I'm a Bulls guy.
Oh, me too.
He didn't do all on his own.
No.
He had Scotty, he had all these great athletes to back him up. The thing I hate is whenever you hear this past season, LeBron, we need more guys. And it's you have one of the highest paying rosters in all of basketball.
Right.
What more do you need?
Exactly. If you can't do it with what you have,
that's the problem. Michael Jordan, you can give him whatever you have. He's like, okay, I'm ready to go.
John Paxson? I can work with him.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr? Sure. Bill Wennington?
Dennis Rodman, one of the most controversial athletes. Yeah, come on in. Yeah. We can do it. We'll win the championship. Have the greatest season ever.
Well, and speaking of Chicago Bulls,
has a nice ring to it.
Yeah, the one sore loser as a team that I was thinking of was back in the 91 playoffs between them and the Detroit Pistons.
Oh, yeah.
When the Pistons, with about 30 seconds left, just walked off the floor, led by Isaiah Thomas. And this is what really put the rift between Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan. They took the bad boys and they just walked off right in front of the Bulls bench with about 30 seconds left. They just said, "We're out of here. Yep. We're not even going to shake your hand. We're gone." That, to me, as a team, was probably the most classless and most sore losing, if you want to say sore losery, type of.
Well, no, because you're paid to be out there from the first whistle to the last whistle. So, I mean, I 100% agree with you, and that's a very good assumption.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate that people have to be like that. Like I said, people are competitive, and that's what drives everybody.
Really quick before we move on, there are certain times though where I don't. You should always be have sportsmanship, but there are times where you can be a little sore loser. Perfect example. We all remember the Fail Mary.
Yeah.
And, the Seahawks slowed to make a kickoff. Had the Packers like, no, we're not even going to bother coming back out.
Right.
Because in that case, yeah, they essentially, they got screwed. I mean, they did.
And Josh made a good point. He's like, you can still be ultra competitive, but be self-controlled.
Right.
And I think that's kind of the point we're getting to. But we went off on that topic. It's something I really wanted to talk about, and I'm really happy that we did. But one topic that we're not going to be able to get to because of time constraints is the NFL mock draft for the NFL. It's something we're going to have to talk about maybe later on. As the time gets closer, like we said, it's 2 weeks away. Yep. You still have Myles Garrett going number one?
I do.
You do?
Apparently,
I do too.
But apparently the Browns think, maybe Trubisky, he's the guy. Of all the quarterbacks we've had,
And there are people, these draft experts that say there's no first-round quarterback that should be taken. Not even Deshaun Watson, who is coming off of one of the greatest championship game performances that we've seen in recent history.
Not to mention the season before that against Bama, he came this close to doing it twice.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, and so we'll have to wait and see, and we'll have to talk about that another time because we're going to have to get out of here. We're going to make room for a special edition of Double Dribble with Mitch Von Hoff and James Stewart, and we will is it Stewart? No, it's not. Carlton. I'm sorry.
Carlton.
I apologize, James. Sorry. I apologize. I apologize. But we do have to get out of here. It was fun hosting Happy Hour for once. It was nice to be able to do a little bit of a variety show. I've always been doing specialty shows like College Road Trip and now Inside the Park, and I love doing those. But this was fun. This is absolutely fun.
It was nice to finally meet you in person.
It was nice to meet you too, and it was nice doing a show with you, and I had fun, and I hope we can do it again.
Oh, we will.
Absolutely.
We will.
Yeah,
we will.
You always put air quotes around everything.
It's my thing. It's either that or hashtag Yoga Rebel.
Oh, Lord. On that note, we have to get out of here.
I am a Chicago guy, so I am going to be out there.
For my Chicago friend, Charlie O'Donnell, and for our producer-director, Baxter Colburn.
Go Blackhawks,
I'm Barry Nelson saying so long. Stay tuned for Double Dribble coming up next, and always be sure to tune in to Morning Brew, Halftime, and Happy Hour each and every day right here on Brew Sports. So long, everybody.